Shiur Torah, Baruch Hashem, always good to be here. There's some good shiurim here, Baruch Hashem. The shiur we did here about Yirat Shamayim, maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, has been very, very popular, Baruch Hashem. A lot of people heard what Yirat Shamayim is for the first time in their life. Even on the Torah, it says that Yirat Hashem yetzer, that Yirat Shamayim, the fear of the Almighty, that's considered Hashem's treasure. That's everything for him. And another place in the Gemara it says that it was worth it for Hashem to create the world just for Yirat Shamayim. That's the reason why he created it, so you could fear him. But yet today we have so much confusion in the days of Mashiach, Achrit Hayamim, that we find ourselves in, that most people have never heard of Yirat Shamayim, and even if they did, they think it's like a bad word. So you tell people, listen, come to Shul Torah, about Mussar, learn about Yirat Shamayim, learn about fear of Hashem. No, what fear of Hashem? No. Hashem loves us. Hashem is this, Hashem is that. He forgives everything. Everything's okay. Everything. They've turned Judaism into Christianity. They just call it Judaism, though. So, why? Because the Christians, that's what they say. The Reforms, that's what they say. The Conservative, that's what they say. And unfortunately, many parts of Orthodox today, they call themselves Orthodox, but really, it's Reform. There's a couple of big Chachamim in Israel that are saying that there are certain parts of modern Orthodox that have faulty leaders, to such an extent that it's Reform in disguise. It's Reform in disguise. Why is Reform in disguise? There's a community here in Florida, at least one that I know of for sure. They call themselves Modern Orthodox. There's somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 families. 1,000 families that go to the synagogue. Many people religious, some black and white, nice people. But every weekend, every Shabbat, they have a parking lot, at least 200 cars. Meaning that out of 1,000 people that show up to the Knesset, somewhere in the neighborhood of 40%, because each car 2 people, 40%, 400 people are driving to the Knesset on Shabbat. But they call this Orthodox. You drive to the Knesset on Shabbat, there's nothing to do with Judaism. Forget Orthodox or not Orthodox. So, unfortunately, the reason why is because Yirat Shamayim, yetzer, has been removed from their teachings. That Yirat Shamayim is the treasure of Hashem has been removed from the teachings. Where today people think that if you teach about Yirat Shamayim, it's like a bad word. You're supposed to teach about loving of Hashem. Hashem loves us, and all of these nice, wonderful things, and that's all great. The problem is that there's maybe 1% of the really, really ultra religious giant chachamim that actually have Ahavat Hashem. There's probably a tiny microscopic percentage of Am Yisrael that actually love Hashem. Every one of us thinks here, everyone sitting here, is 100% sure that we love Hashem. But if I told you that you don't even understand what loving Hashem is, it's a surprise. And the reason why is because Yirat Shamayim itself has several levels. The lowest level of Yirat Shamayim is fear of punishment. Don't do X, Y, Z, because Hashem will punish you. Hashem Merachem, you lose health, parnasah, zivug, all types of horrible things that can happen to a person. There's plenty of horrible things that can happen to a person in this world. That's the lowest level. He said that's a level that even a donkey has. Why? A donkey is scared that he's not gonna run off a cliff because he doesn't want to break his legs and die. Right? So even a donkey has a little bit of yira. He's afraid of punishment. So that's the lowest level, alvai aleinu, that we get there. Alvai, we get there. The highest level is fear of romemut, fear of the Almighty, meaning you're afraid of hurting the relationship you have with Hashem Yitbarach. Similar to the type of a relationship between a husband and a wife. And he says, once you get to the highest level, already you're almost at a level of how Avraham Avinu got to the highest level of Yirat Shamayim. You got there. He says, and that is the beginning. That's the beginning of loving Hashem. Meaning the highest level of Yirat Shamayim, that very few people in the generation actually possess, that's just the beginning of loving Hashem. So now I ask you again, do you think there's a lot of people, many people, that actually even understand what loving Hashem is, let alone actually love Him? So, it's not an embarrassing thing. It's not something that someone should feel bad about. It's just a reality check of where you stand. A guy that's not successful in business should not be upset about not being successful. First of all, you should know that everything is in the hands of Hashem. But second of all, you should know this is just today. Today you're not successful. Who knows what the future holds? If you invest today, maybe tomorrow is going to be better than today. There's nothing for you to be upset about. If it was permanent, then yeah, maybe you should be miserable. But who said it's permanent? Nothing's permanent other than death. But even that's timely because you go to a different world. So it's not something to be upset about, not loving Hashem, or not even being at a decent level of Yirat Shamayim. It's just a reality check. You need to know that you're not successful in order for you to start getting up off your chair and saying, okay, I gotta do something about it. If every day you say, no, I'm successful, but your bank account is at zero, you think that saying you're successful is going to help? Like they say in that stupid book, The Secret? Nothing. It's not going to do anything. What's going to happen? Your wife is going to slap you in the face and say, successful batich. What's successful? Go to work. What's successful? You saying successful is not doing anything. We need to pay for food. The kids haven't eaten in 3 days. The cat is leaving the house. He found a new place already.
Well, I'm feeling good.
It's a feeling good. Everybody's dying around you. What feeling good? So saying successful is not going to change anything. So exactly, you're lying to yourself. It's intellectual dishonesty. So the most important thing that a first person needs to do in the beginning is to understand where he stands. We do not have real Yirat Shamayim at this point to even dare to say that Ahavat Hashem is part of our vocabulary. And before we start the questions, I'll tell you something. Yesterday we said a story that's in Gemara Masechet Brachot about Rabban Yochanan. His students came to him and asked him, Kvod Harav, give us a blessing before he was dying. Give us a blessing. And he told them the blessing is that you fear Hashem like you fear man, which to them sounded strange. But then later on, he explained to them that in reality, you sin in front of Hashem all the time, but if the cop is about to pull you over on the highway, you get scared to death. So fearing in front of man, you're scared. Or fearing in front of Hashem, Alayinu ala rasi, like they say. It's no problem, no big deal. So, the other part of the Gemara also says that, Kvod Harav, why are you so scared? You are Patisha Kadosh, you're the strong hammer. The Torah was almost forgotten before you came along. You had so much churban, so much punishment, so much disaster to Am Yisrael. The Torah was almost forgotten, you restarted it. Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai. Why are you scared right now? You're shaking, crying. Why? You know you're going to Gan Eden. He says, if I was going to meet and be judged by a king of flesh and blood, whose punishment is a temporary punishment. It's only in this world. And his anger is only a temporary anger. It's only in this world. Even then I would be a little scared. But not so much, because it's temporary. But I'm not going in front of a king of flesh and blood. I'm going in front of the King of Kings, where if his punishment is a punishment, it's eternal punishment, Bar Minan. And if his anger is anger, it's eternal anger, Bar Minan. And I know that there are two options, Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai says. There's one door for Gan Eden, and there's one door for Gehenom. And I don't know which one they're going to put me in. Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai restarted the Torah, saved the Torah for the generations. Today we have Torah because of Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai. He's saying, I don't know which one I'm going to go to. Why are you so confident that you're going to everybody thinks they're going to Gan Eden. They go to tomorrow starts slichot, chatanu lefanecha, and they're clapping and everybody's happy. What happy? You're saying to Hashem, I'm sitting in front of your face and I think it's okay. Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai is not so sure. Why are we so sure? What makes you so sure? What makes you so sure? What makes you so sure is delusion. Instead of the little boy that thinks the sun is a quarter, but in reality finds out later on when he grows up that the sun is a giant, thousands of times larger than Earth, we, in some cases, have gotten to such a point where we're not like the little boy. We're worse than the little boy. What do we think? We think we're the sun. And the rest of the world is the quarter. Understand? So, today, the Mussar Shiurim are helping a lot of people wake up. Because, Baruch Hashem, we have the merit, but it's still sad to me to hear that it's very rare for people to actually hear real Mussar in the English language. So, most important part right now is for us to understand that all of this Mussar is applicable all year round, all life round, for all levels, for all people, for religious. In Spanish it's zero, unfortunately. In English it's almost virtually zero, with the exception of myself and Rav Mizrahi and Rav Alon Nava. That's it. There's no, and there's a couple of other ones that do it as well that are decent, but in general, it's virtually non-existent, and it's created a confused generation. And this is some of the things we're going to talk about today, of what it means to be confused, because this Judgment Day that we're talking about, this, Rosh Chodesh Elul that we started, we have 40 days from now, we're going to have Rosh Hashanah, that's Judgment Day, then you have Yom Kippur, which is the Appeal Day, but in reality, we also have Mashiach, we also have End of Life that everyone has to experience at some point. There's a lot of other days also. So we have to understand what all of this means, specifically pertaining to the fact that the Mashiach is nearly here. If we were in a generation of Noach, Noach is putting the last few nails in the ark. He's putting the last few nails in the ark. Now if you remember from Parashat Noach, once the ark was finished, the generation was finished. There was no like, oh, you know what, go walk around for another 3, 4, 5, 600 years. See if they want to do tshuva. He finished, took him a long time, 120 years. Once he finished, Hashem's patience finished. So we are now in a generation of no different than Noach. With Hashem, it's going to be much better results, but nonetheless, Hashem is ready to close the store. Question is, are we ready? Are we ready to pay the bill?